Let's also check in now with Sheriff Bill Waybourn from Tarrant County, Texas, and joining us as well, Texas GOP Chairman and former Congressman Allen West. He's also a retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel and the CEO and President of the Hope Center. Sheriff, first to you on this one. If you go to Customs and Border Protection's website right now, the Commissioner's Office lists a guy named Troy Miller as the senior official performing the duties of the Commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. We talked also about the Vice President supposedly tapped to lead this effort to combat the problem we're seeing on the border, but you heard the White House as well kind of shifting responsibilities. I mean, it's a simple question, Sheriff. Other than you and your deputies, who's really protecting our border down there?
Well, our governor has put the National Guard down there, as long as our Texas Rangers are down there and our state troopers are down there, but they're really tackling cartel issues as far as the immigration, the people flooding across. They're dealing with human trafficking. And what Logan was saying there is absolutely correct. We have seen since this surge that methamphetamine locally has gone from about $80 a gram to $20 a gram. So flood of methamphetamine is coming over, and it's going to just infect us. And then we think that we will have this spike in COVID in Texas, and it's going to be due to the issues on the border, not any other things that are going on.
Yeah, so, supply and demand, you see what happens there with methamphetamines. Colonel West, these are not responsibilities that should fall to state officials, protecting our border, enforcing immigration policies. But you heard the sheriff there. They really don't have any choice because it's up to Texas Rangers and Texas state officials really to fill the void here.
Well, it's good to be with you, John. And of course, it's great to be with my dear friend, Sheriff Waybourn from over there in Tarrant County, Fort Worth. And what we see happening is absolutely appalling. This is an abdication of the Biden administration. It reminds me of the Abbott and Costello comedy routine, who's on first, what's on second, because no one is in charge. But the Constitution does say that states in Article 1, Section 10, Clause number 3, that in case of invasion, that's the verbiage that the Founding Fathers used, that states can take action because of the imminent danger. And when you look at what is happening here in the great state of Texas, something that's going to affect Sheriff Waybourn and all of our law enforcement agents, we're bringing in these illegal immigrant males, 3,000 over here in Dallas, 1,000 out there in Midland, 500 just showed up in San Antonio. They're being released into our communities. So I think that we do need to see more action from the state level because there's been a complete abdication from the federal level. And that means a full deployment of our National Guard with all of our assets we have in the Department of Public Safety to make sure that we are securing that border ourselves. And we need to take action as far as state level policy to not allow people to come into the Lone Star State and be released into our communities.
Colonel West, some people see that term invasion as a loaded term, but, we can ask the sheriff about that. Do you feel that this is an invasion of sorts?
Sure looks like one, doesn't it? As people are coming over, we know that already 100,000 people have come in. I'm told they're given ankle monitors and a court date and wandering into our communities. If you talk to the leadership on the border, whether it's the sheriffs down there or the mayors, they're overwhelmed. Their resources are gone because they're having to deal with these people. And it's obviously not a true armed invasion, but be advised, there are cartel members and there's criminals embedded in these groups that are coming over. And while Logan said that very clearly, is they're doing that thing of, we'll send some over to surrender to the Border Patrol, and while they're dealing with them, we're going to send a lot more past them. So whatever count that you hear, it's going to be markedly larger than that count. It's going to be double or triple.
It's a shell game. When it comes to the numbers, we don't trust the numbers we're getting from the administration right now. You see the pictures, as you indicated, Sheriff, it does look like an invasion, I think, to most people who look at this with common sense. Sheriff, real quickly, we're about through the first quarter of this year. I saw some estimates that predict that this could last for another 7 months here before the administration's finally able to get their handle on this. I mean, do you have any indication thus far on how much this is going to cost your office alone?
There is no idea what it's going to cost at this point. I don't think anybody can really predict that. And I think, by the way, Colonel West is a great spokesman for our state, and it's an honor to be with him also today. But I will say this, is that the Biden administration bringing these children in, allowing them in, and they're going to overwhelm our foster care program. They're going to overwhelm a lot of different things. And the peak season is not here. We know that next month and the following few months are going to be the peak season. So we can expect this to continue if they don't step in and provide some leadership.
Yeah, and Colonel West, you think about the kids, especially the standards being lowered for people, foster families and stuff like that. It's a recipe for disaster.
It is an absolute recipe for disaster, but also one of the things you have to realize is that Texas is the #1 state in the United States of America for human and sex trafficking. And when you have a 1,200-mile border that is practically open right now, we have to be concerned about, the escalation of that as well. And Dallas and Houston are the top 2 cities for human and sex trafficking in the United States of America. So the Biden administration is showing that they are really the ones that are inhumane in not dealing with this situation.
Right. Telling people that it's okay to come when you're running for president and then not having the resources to provide what you offered them is disingenuous. You hear the people streaming across the border saying they are coming, in fact, because they thought Joe Biden was going to let them in. A huge issue. And again, the administration MIA down there on the border. Sheriff, thanks so much for your time. Colonel West, great to see you as always, sir.
My pleasure.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.